In this tutorial, we're going to look at a very simple branching scenario and how you set up a branching in Storyline. So you can see over here, we're looking at our scene, and in the scene, I have a slide up here. It's called 1.1 question 5. That's where we ask the question based on the response that the user provides. We're either going to send them to this slide if they get it correct, or we're going to send them over to this slide if they get it wrong. So we can also use that for you can do like create your own adventures where based on a user's response, if it's selecting a specific button or clicking on a certain object, it can take them down a separate path. And then if they click on another button, they can go down that other path. So you can set up a choose your own adventure where they can pick the path that they're going to go down, and then they can explore that path. The nice thing with these branching simulations is people can try and guess or try and get the right answer. They can experiment, but they can get it wrong, and then they can learn from their mistakes and go back and try again and be sent down a different path. So that's the benefit of being able to use branching in your trainings. So let's take a look at how we've got this set up. So we have a slide right here, which we turned into a freeform slide using the freeform button up here under the Insert tab. What that does is it lets us take a slide and then it lets us turn it into either like a drag and drop or that you can add buttons. So you can create interactive slides by using this, and you just turn it on and off by selecting this. So you see when we select it, it gives us the options to either choose like a drag and drop, turn into a drag and drop, or a pick one or pick many. We do text entry, hotspot, shortcut key. So in this case, we're using a pick one. So select that. And then you can see what that does is that then gives us multiple choice form. And so we can go and we can set up the multiple choice. And we can look at that in a different example. But in this case, just wanted to show you that we're using a freeform slide. And once we've got that set up, it'll let us do our branching. So we're going to come back and we'll take a look at that in just a second. So for this example, we use Storyline's built-in branching features in the form view. So what we've done is we've taken this slide and up here in the Insert tab, we changed it to a freeform slide. So that would let us turn into a pick many or pick one type slide where you can pick from the buttons that are on the slide. It also sets up a form view, so it gives you this other view that will let you choose the correct answer out of the different options you have. It also lets you put the feedback in. And this is where you take care of the branching. So if you notice under slide 1.1, it's called question 5, under the correct feedback, you can write the feedback here, but then there's a button here that says more. And it looks like a little image that looks like a branching slide. So if you click that more button, it then brings up a menu where you can put in the feedback and you can format that feedback. You can also add audio if you want to add audio track to it, either like button sounds or voiceovers. But then right over here, you have branch to the following. So this is where you can pick where you want to send them. And so you can just drop this menu down and you can choose the spot where you want to send them. So in this case, we're sending them to, the slide's name is 1.3 question 6. And you can see from our arrows over here, it gives you an idea of where these slides are going. So here we see 1.3 question 6. So once they click on that, it will send them here if they get the correct answer. And so it moves them on to the next slide. But if they get the wrong answer, we'll go back to here. So under incorrect, if we go over here to more, We don't have any feedback and we don't have any audio, but you notice right here we send them to what we call 1.2 wrong answer slide. So we send them to this slide to where we give them this. And basically what we're doing is we're putting them in a feedback loop. So they basically have to go back here and answer the question correctly, and then they can move forward through the other questions. But for each one of these, if they get the question wrong, we then branch them and send them over to this slide. So you'll notice in some of these other slides, if I click here, we look at the form view. So you can see they get it correct. You can see we send them on to the next slide, 1.5 question 8, which is down here. And if they get it wrong, we're sending them to that 1.2 wrong answer slide. So it just creates this loop, and they get sent to it until they get the right answer. Once they get the right answer, it kicks them out of that loop, then on to the next question. So that's a very simple example of branching. You can get a lot more complex than this and have them branching into a bunch of multiple directions. That can get a bit confusing as you're doing that. So what I recommend when you're doing any type of branching simulation is to use like a Visio flowchart or like a mind mapping tool, some way to where you can lay out the progression of how they're going to be branching and the different paths they're going to be taking. Because as you get more and more complex with your branching, it can also get more and more confusing and hard to be able to follow those paths. So definitely good to use some type of tool like Visio or mind mapping tool for that. Okay, so that is how we use Storyline's built-in branching functionality to create a branching slide. And in this case, we're using it in our simulations. All right, hope this has helped. Thank you.